At Lonsdale Street Studio, we believe in the power of storytelling to connect people and create change. That's why we're proud to be the production partner for this Running for Resilience podcast.
I remember when the rugby league coach, Paul Green, took his life. It kind of prompted me to think about this idea of toughness or stoicism, which I imagine, I've never been a tradie, but as an outsider looking in, it seems like a very tough domain, a very stoic domain. And this breathing stuff, this talking about your emotions and trying to get to the bottom of it, as I think, the same thing that the Healthy Tradie Project comes up against. How do you get past that hurdle? Because it's a hurdle amongst all blokes, but I imagine it's even more of a hurdle.
Well, I think, and particularly tradies, it's also isolating. You start pretty early, and then you quite often just working on your own, so to speak, and you might have a team that works with you, or you might be part of a team, but I think it's quite isolating. They're long hours, it's physical, it's difficult. A lot of the time you're probably not paid that well. And then there's other workplace behaviours that could be quite damaging, whether that's smoking, drinking, just poor
energy drink for breakfast.
Yep, all those sorts of things. So they'd contribute to just feeling not too good about yourself. And again, you look at the simplistic view. I feel out of shape. I feel terrible because I've drunk too many energy drinks. You might not know why. You've been, using your phone to scroll a bit too much, online gambling, and by the time you get to Friday, you're out of money. You feel crap about yourself. You're not connected with any mates that you might have in the past. So it's a simplistic view, but you can see why people get caught in that downward spiral.
But at the end of the day, and why I feel suicide-free Canberra is possible is because I agree that everyone's journey and path in life is unique, but we are all human with the same 99.999% same biology and mechanisms in the brain that explain behaviour. And when I feel when you understand the neurochemicals of what endorphins, oxytocin, what all these things do, it makes sense why people are struggling. Then we're not, lifestyles that have changed so much. We're not living in line with our genetics or in our biology. We're not getting the sleep. And all it comes back to nervous system regulation. While you're on your phone scrolling, you're just trying to regulate yourself. What Barry said was probably a healthy way of calming the farm. Yeah. And I feel like if that became common knowledge 100 years ago, we didn't know smoking was bad for us. We now know. That knowledge has gotten through society. We also know eating too much now is not great. And I feel like once society understands nervous system regulation, I really feel that's something anyone can master. And that's obviously I think that Barry was trying to show everyone that it may not get us to zero, but I think it will make a humongous.
It's the foundation.
Humongous difference. Yeah. And that's something that we all have in common. We all have nervous systems. We all, what's shaped and impacted our nervous system through our journeys is unique, but we still have this similarity of a nervous system that needs regulating. And from when I sailed very close, never attempted to commit suicide, but when I was in really, really bad place, sailing close to the wind, I was in nervous system pain. I was in so much pain. And it's, through the help by getting help from a psych and practicing the holistic view around doing things that gave me good brain chemicals, helped me regulate get my nervous system back into a place where I was feeling a lot better.
I refer to that a little bit as the ripple effect. So at Menslink, we speak about the ripple effect in terms of young fellas' behaviour to their mums and their sisters and their aunts. And so people quite often say to us, why are you a gender bias service? Why do you just treat young guys? Because we know that there's a ripple effect. So if we're helping a young guy, whether through it's counselling, mentoring or education, and they're going home and they now understand a little bit about their behaviour and why they're behaving that way and the effect that behaviour has on others, we're actually not a gender, we're actually helping everybody. And it's exactly what you're talking about. Once people start to understand a little bit about what's going on with the chemicals, the endorphins and all the things that's going on in their body, it's like that ripple effect. and they'll feel better and better and better, just by virtue of some of those small changes. And if you feel better about yourself, well, that's a start on your journey, is really what it is.
Yeah, once you got a bit of momentum,
Yeah.
you start wanting to do more
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
whatever makes you feel good,
And
in a good way.
so it's not easy. It's not easy to give up the grog on a Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday night. You've had a long day.
Especially if your social connection's built around all your mates, and you need it. Like,
And that's one thing, but you know, you can very easily fall into going home on a Tuesday night after a long day at work, or Wednesday night and having a glass or two of wine or a couple of beers, and that leads into an extra beer. That's a habit that's really easy to get into, compared to, you know, well, when we get home tonight, Ben, how about we just go for a walk for 45 minutes rather than having a wine first up. You know, there's all these little habits. I'm very conscious of that now, for myself, because I know that's how I perform the best. Before we came down here this afternoon, I actually had an ice bath.
so did I.
Yeah, there you go. It just makes me feel better. And, you know, we could list on a screen all the physical benefits, but I just feel better. So I don't
At the
even
end
worry
of the
about
day,
it.
that's
I
what
just,
it is.
I just feel better. I knew that I wanted to feel good coming down here. I know that I've got a long weekend in front of me. I've had a really big week. I was like, I could go down and with Ben and Matt and be a little bit flat, or I could do something for myself and just feel a little bit better. So that's sort of how I go about it.
I think there's a clue here as well. What you just said, I think it resonates. I'm speaking on behalf of blokes, when they get into the Andrew Huberman style explanations of people. A lot of people switch off. They go, "Yeah, mate, whatever." But when mate, I just feel better. Or no, I don't want to have an extra beer because I've got 3 kids and I just want to feel better in the morning. Just to simplify it, it's like, mate, I just feel better. And I think that's the kind of language that can work in those groups. Just,
But in Huberman's defense, at least he's his mission is trying to educate people to understand the neuroscience and biology that we all have, to then inform, to make decisions so that the right, sustainable, or not right, but better decisions that will make us feel good sustainably, not fix ourselves, regulate ourselves with a quick fix that just makes things worse.
But I know I can use this as an example with Ben, because I know he's had coaches through his rugby career that were very technical in what they were advocating for and how to go about it. And then he had some coaches that were just like, mate, it's just going to make you strong. It's just going to make you feel better. And that works.
don't overthink it.
Don't overthink.
Yeah.
Dean Benton.
Yep.
You know, he had the technical, but he had the gift to say to you, mate, trust me, sleep is the best thing for you.
Sleep and diet, was it?
Yep.
Sleep, diet, and ice baths.
It's sleep, diet, flexibility.
Flexibility for you guys, yep. Which is important when you're in a scrum, you know, quite obviously. So, but he had the technical part, and then I know that we had coaches later in your career that were very technical and just couldn't communicate that very well. And so what happens, most blokes just switch off pretty quick. So it's about how you communicate.
And how you get those champions in those spots that other people will follow.
Yeah, I think so. And you just got to choose a way of resonating with the person. And I'll admit I'm a fairly simplistic bloke. Makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Good enough for me. I know.
Yeah, that checks out. That sounds about right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think there's something quite endearing.
And I know
You
what
connect
makes me.
with it.
Yeah, I know what makes me feel bad. And I know that if I had 3 beers on a Wednesday night, Thursday morning, I'd be like, oh, geez, I'm struggling a bit. Gotta push
That
on.
comes from experience. A lot of young blokes don't really realise that. And I reckon people they go for a few weeks, even some months feeling like crap, and that becomes their normal.
Yeah.
And then they're just so far gone. Then it is a long way back to actually feeling healthy and normal and thriving, which I think everyone's capable of.
But it's not easy.
No, not at all. And that's, I guess, and Breeny and I've had this discussion many times about if you do simplify something, some people get offended by that. But I don't think just because you can state something simply doesn't mean it is simple, or it is.
Lots of
Does
guys
it?
do
Yeah, but you've got to. If you can't explain something simply, then it'll never cover every case or every sort of scenario, but then some people just can't. Most people won't be able to wrap their head around it and make some sense, and
It'll get you most of the way, and then you can get into the complexity.
later on.
Because I think that the truth with stuff like this is life is so overwhelming. Like everything that's going
Technology is just making it worse. Yeah.
that could be. But a lot of people have already done an 8-hour day, and then they go home, and then there's home duties, whatever home duties might happen to be, whether it's kids, elderly people,
Whatever
it happens. Yeah, just life duties get in the way, and then before you know it, it's 7 o'clock at night, and you're just back on the merry-go-round.
Do you, like you were talking about your self-care and how you regulate yourself, is that something, like, do you talk about the values to the young guys? Like,
Yeah, we do.
that it is, like, not selfish to put yourself first, to look at, you need to, in fact, put yourself first, to be able to then support those around you, or is there any...
There's a nuance to that, because young blokes are pretty selfish.
Yeah.
Pretty much. They'll slam the door in the bedroom and get on the game station for...
Yeah, okay.
10
So it's
hours
not the
if
right,
you let 'em.
not the right sort of age for that message.
Yeah, it's not really. It's a lot of, when you're talking to young guys, it's trying to...
What values do you try and teach them?
Empathy, little sympathetic, listening, being aware of what's happening in your environment.
How do you sell it to them? Like, how do you get a young bloke who just wants to go play video games to understand the value of empathy and want to try and be more empathetic?
Yeah, so that's a really interesting question, because from my background, I talk to my education and mentor staff all the time about this, and I was saying I want our programs to be evidence-based, I want them to be peer-reviewed, and I want them to align with the Australian curriculum. Okay? Now, you know me and my background, that makes perfect sense. We're playing 9-minute game, we break at 45, this is what we're doing, but the truth is, it's way more nuanced than that. And so my education staff, in particular, Mark Wadey, is very, very strong, and very strong's not the right word, but an advocate for the lived experience and talking through it. And so the programs that he has led us down are really, we have evidence, and they're reviewed by peers, and they align with the Australian curriculum standards. So they're all the things you need to do to go into schools, quite rightly. But he also has the skill to be able to draw young fellas into the journey and share the journey with young fellas. It's quite an amazing thing.
So what he tries to share stories of where someone started being more empathetic, and then they decided, okay, I should be more empathetic.
Yeah, and they use lots of tools or workshops to draw that out of young fellas. It's quite amazing. One of their favourite ones is the mask, and the mask is really referring to the mask we all wear outwardly facing. So when we come into the studio to talk about these sorts of things, we've got a certain sort of mask on, but it does that. And our circumstances here is the mask is probably the same on the inside as the outside. But that probably wasn't the same as what we were when we were 25.
No.
The mask that we portrayed out, you look inward and you're anxious, you're not sure about your place in the world. You don't really know where you're actually going to go, whereas we're probably better at that stuff nowadays in our positions. So they spend a lot of time with young fellas going through that. It's pretty profound for them, and something I'm really proud of our guys doing.
The mask's a great analogy. I can't remember who wrote Rag.
It was anonymous.
An article where someone wrote about the mask.
Yeah.
And just the mask, especially if you're not feeling great.
Yeah.
The mask gets pretty thick, and what's on the outside's very different to what's looking to the inside of the mask.
And and you can certainly shut me down on this, but there's no disrespect to the career that you're in at the pub, at the dock. There's a way that you have to go down and present yourself in that environment compared to what you might do at home with the girls.
And it's nuanced.
I try and be as similar as I try. And the big thing with the dock, we try and create an atmosphere where people can be themselves.
Yeah.
That's something I'm really proud of, that with no dread, you come into the dock and you feel like you can just be yourself.
Fantastic.
That's something we strive for. Obviously, some people need
a
beer or two, and they feel a bit more themselves. But
you won an award for being, that good. So
slight tangent before we get on, because we've spoken a lot about education, but the mask, I don't know, the movie with Jim Carrey, sometimes the mask can take over. Sometimes I enjoy putting on a different mask to just see what I like about that side of the world or whatever it may be. Like maybe you go in and you go into a new job and you try to be a certain way to see if it feels right, or you know what I mean? Like it's a bit different.
Absolutely.
So maybe the mask starts to take over
Masks make my skin rash, sorry, mate. I'm
but
keen to get rid of every mask there is.
a lot of it seems that one of the themes that is coming into this is education. Education, whether it be formal, you know, in a school setting, or informal, you know, setting an example and telling people how it can benefit. But the Silence is Deadly program is obviously the program that is doing a lot of that education.
Well, Silence is Deadly is a program that teaches young guys to help-seeking behaviour. So talk about what they're doing. For us at Menslink, that's our sort of benchmark program. That's what we started. Marty Fisk, I spoke about it at the business breakfast. Marty Fisk started that in 2012 with the team at Menslink at the time, and it's now, you know, multiple generations more advanced than what it was when we first started. And I recall that's how I got involved with Menslink. I went with Marty, and it would have been pretty early on to 12, 13, and presented a few of the Silence is Deadly. So that was my journey into Menslink. But that's not the only way that you can educate. So I know Ben's spoken about it a few times today, but the advent of social media, or the proliferation of social media, is massive. So we actually provide an education program called Unplugged, and that's teaching young guys the conscious use of social media. So we all know that if you're saying no to young, it's like, put your phones down. No, it's not happening. You know, the chances of success is not very good. So we chose the other way. We said, let's educate young people about what social media is and what it's actually doing, and the algorithms behind it and how it works. So the young person then has a better chance of making a conscious decision. Simple.
Yeah, teaching them the recipe of the poison.
Yeah,
in a way.
Yeah.
Did you teach them about the dopamine, like dopamine? Like,
Yep. All of the above. It's an amazing program.
Unplugged.
Yeah. So we talk about the catchphrase. So Silence is Deadly, you know, is the help-seeking bar, and Unplugged is, you know, unplugged to connect. And the boys have some great material that they've developed, and they have 2 concert photos, and I think from memory one's at Eddie Mercury concert. So I'm going to say mid-80s, crazy crowd, but everyone's in the moment. Yeah. Everyone's watching Eddie like, how good
Freddie.
is he?
And then Freddie, and then everyone's got in the other one. I bet you they've all got their phones out recording it.
Yeah, exactly. And I can't remember who they've used, the modern day one, but yeah, everyone's got the phones out, and they're worried about the phones, that the present in the moment is not there.
There's a famous photo when LeBron James went to shoot his break the NBA record for most points. The Lakers, and they've got the whole fans, every single one's holding their phone up trying to capture the moment, and the only bloke sitting there courtside was Phil Knight, founder of Nike. He's just old fella sitting there, the only one. Everyone had their cameras in. Phil Knight's just sitting there, legs crossed, just enjoying it. The moment LeBron breaks the NBA record.
Actively being present.
Yeah, staying in the moment is a skill that it's very difficult.
It's hard with the kids, because with my kids, like, I want to capture moments so you can relive them later. But then, it is just such a tricky balance that then you're not enjoying the current moment so much because you're half of your brain's thinking
because I heard you talk about before you taking the girls up skiing. So I'm sure you're trying to capture a bit of skiing footage.
No, I'm not good enough skier, mate, to be able to get my phone out.
You're a cannonball.
Yeah,
I've been thinking about that. The capturing moments is why do we want to capture moments? And I think it's because we want to remember how we feel, and in that moment we want to have it later where we go, I felt that way, I want to feel that way again. And I think there's a little bit of just trust. You got to trust that when you put all yourself into something and you do forego some of those photos, that feeling will be there. That co-created experience that you've had, that'll come when you sit down with that person later, and it's there, and it's rather than getting out the photo book, which is great. Don't get me wrong, there's a place for it. But the reason you've liked the photos is because of the experience you've created with the person. So if you double down on the experience, it will be there in the future.
Unfortunately, I don't think many people think that much into it. It's habit.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing it, and it's just habit.
It's easy to do.
Yeah.
Just,
I was on a podcast a while back that was talking about men's mental health and education, and one of the things that came up, guys got to talk. Guys have to talk. Guys have to share their feelings. Obviously, Menslink is doing a lot of educating in that space, but there's a reason it's not happening. A lot of blokes don't talk for whatever reason it is. What are you seeing?
Well, number one, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard for young guys.
but why?
And it's not only young guys, it's hard for guys.
Everyone.
So you actually
Is that society pressuring them into making it hard? Is it just not taught the skills? Is it like
I don't think it's been
evolution?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. But what I do know is that you have to set the environment up to talk. So you do obviously have to have a safe space. You do have to, as I was describing, it's the best way to talk to a fella is to go for a walk, so side by side. If you're going to sit down and go, "What's wrong, Matt? What's going on?" It's like,
whoa.
That's the same with my daughters.
Nothing,
like,
mate.
That's when we got them in the car.
It's not
you
as
never get out of them at first if something that's all like later in the evening or
just
when
comes
you're not,
out.
when you're not. Yeah, it comes out later on.
So I guess there's a way, but I think with our programs, it's really about enabling. And letting
Giving them the tools.
Yeah. But just enabling. It's okay to say that. A lot of young guys might not have had that messaging in their lives. That's okay to say that. A lot of young guys, and I don't want to be critical anywhere. A lot of young guys, their mums have done the talking for them all their entire life. So, whatever the example happens to be, mum will jump in first and say, "Oh no. Ben said that he's going to do this." What did Ben actually say? So we sort of see that in counselling a little bit. So when a mum comes in and what's been going on, mum will jump in. Well, this is what's been going on. So does
the counsellor straight away go, "That's a red flag," and try and go, "Mum, dear, maybe you need to see a bit of counselling"? Or
nah. So commonly with our counselling, it's really about counselling with the young fella. So unless there's
but when the mother jumps in,
we don't actually.
Or you never. Okay, yeah.
We don't, unless there's a very specific reason why mum needs to be involved. It's not common that we have mums involved for that reason. Yeah,
I can also see it from
mums. Yeah.
From my perspective.
Right,
Sometimes,
as a parent, it'd be hard.
like I like to think that I'm a pretty present father, but with that comes. Like your kids are learning, and you've obviously been through their phase. Like I'd like to think I'm smarter than a toddler, but you see them doing something, and they're about to stuff up. They're about to fall. What pitfalls they're about to, and because I'm there, I've got the choice of, okay, do I let them fall? Do I let them do this? And I have to actively step back, and I feel like
you're making that conscious decision, which is really good. A lot of the time,
it's hard for people to.
It's very hard.
Because in the moment it would hurt the kids sometimes,
and that's.
But overall, or over the long term, it helps.
Well, if you want young guys to speak, you got to
let them.
Yeah.
Do you do anything with parents?
The short answer is yes. When we start our mentor program, our 2-year mentor journey, so we have a mother's workshop, and we continue to engage with mums along that journey. It's something that we actually want to do. We're actually creating a program as it speaks with hopefully launch date in first term 2026.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to get the phrasing wrong because we haven't started it. We haven't worked out the phrasing, but we want to have a father and son course. But that could be an uncle. So it could be the significant male role model in their life. It might be their uncle, could be an older brother, could be a granddad, could be a dad, and that pair comes along and learns to communicate better.
Can you share what you do in the mums workshop, or what's going to be in the mums workshop?
So we do. Yeah, it's a tough question. The mums workshop is about informing the mum about what a mentor journey is. So it's really trying to keep mum calm about it, because quite obviously, let's just use the example that it's a mum from a single parent household, and that her 12-year-old son that she, has gone through the battles and the journeys to 12, and then all of a sudden they're going to be matched and paired with a male role model. So it's quite a confronting situation. We totally acknowledge that. So we try and bring mums in and obviously go through the safety of what our program is and the rigors that we have gone through to choose mentors and why we've chosen and sort of the process. So it's really about talking about the process of what the mentor program is, but it's also giving the mums a chance to talk about their journey.
That's part of it too.
Yeah, very much so. And that's, we would do an intake of something between 10 and 15 young fellows, and that might be, say, 3 times a year. So we'll always have the mums in, or the guardian or whoever's in charge of the young fellow in for that workshop. And then that enables them to understand the Menslink journey and be engaged as we go through the entire program.
And trust it a bit more so it can be as beneficial as possible.
Yeah.
I've got, I think, one more question and then a final question. But we
So you got 2 more questions.
Yeah. But
just checking.
Hey, let the man speak.
Sorry. I'm not your mum, mate.
Yeah.
I have gotten so much value out of writing, journaling. And I think this is just a personal observation. One of the reasons, because I don't actually speak to my friends or others generally. I do a lot of it internal, and then I'm happy to share it out into the world. But one of the reasons I think people don't share is because they don't understand what they're going through. And they're probably afraid of sounding silly. And I think writing, even though they won't sound silly, I think writing helps bridge that gap between silence and talking. Does it have a place in any of your programs, or journaling?
Absolutely. Journaling, not per se, but one of the things that we do, in the program is, one of our programs is the young fellows write a letter to their mum and dad.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. It's a crude form of journaling. It's a beginning stage of journaling.
That's a great form of journaling.
Yeah. But and a young fellow's probably never really done that.
Putting it on paper.
Yeah. So technically, just a little bit different on how we do it. And then
kind of indirect in the way that you do other things as well. You don't ask them straight out.
No, it's very subtle. Yeah, absolutely. And there's obviously lots of benefits to that, but it's positive feedback. So you can guarantee that you've written a letter to your mum or your dad, telling them what you think. Mum and dad are going to be pretty positive about it. I can't imagine there's, what? You love me? Oh, piss off, mate. You're not going to get that. So it's a really positive response to a young guy writing about his feelings. So the chances of him developing the confidence and the motivation to continue journaling, because I know both of you guys are big on the journaling, is a really good chance that that's going to happen. We all know the benefits of journaling. There's no doubt about that. So to teach young guys that way, very subtly, through really positive experience, it's a good way to do it.
I've never done that form of journaling before, but I can see the benefit of it in. You talk about getting the perspective.
Yeah, we're talking young blokes. We're talking 12, 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old blokes. Like,
I'm going to do it because I think it helps you put the shoe on the other foot. When you talk about how you have that ripple effect, what impact they have on others around them.
Yeah.
That writing that letter is a way of consciously thinking about what impact or what's happening.
Yeah,
with that.
and the letter doesn't need to be long and complex. Just start. Like a lot of these young guys would never have said, "Mum, I really love you and thanks for cooking dinner." Start with that, mate.
Just start.
That's a really powerful.
Don't overcomplicate it.
Mum will crumble if she's never heard a young bloke say that.
Yeah. Well, no, some of my journal entries are, I'm stressed at the moment. I'll deal with it later. Just as like a bit of a acknowledgement, and then come back to it.
You just get you out of your head. I mean, it's no different than that. method if you're lying awake at 3 a.m. in the morning. It's like, just get up and write it down. Just clear your
Get
mind.
it out of your brain.
Yeah, just get it out of your brain. It's very similar type mechanisms behind it.
Final question.
Yeah.
There's one.
There's one, might be one coming in.
Benny's got a few too.
No.
No.
What are you most excited about? The 2 more now. What are you most excited about with Menslink coming up?
So for Menslink,
And what can R4R do to help?
Yeah.
Thank you. So it's very easy for organisations like Menslink and any community-based organisations to get stale and just continue to do the same thing because it's so hard. It is so difficult just to survive. So you're like, let's just keep doing the same. Okay, that's going to be good enough. At least we're doing something. For Menslink, we're very fortunate. The staff that I have and the board that I have and the outlook we have, we want to keep pushing programs. And some will work better than others, but there's no doubt that the need in our community is great. We're really proud that we're going to stretch out into Goulburn, Yass, Cooma, Bungendore, so Canberra and region.
Yep.
That's a big thing for us. The other really big thing for us is maturing into some online counselling. So obviously face-to-face counselling is that's the gold standard. That's where you really, it really resonates and you can make some big differences. But the truth is not every young person can actually get into a face-to-face session. So that there's got to be a model, and I don't know what the model is going to turn out like, but there's got to be a model where we can integrate some online counselling with some face-to-face counselling and helping that young guy in need. That's got to be the first premise of what we do. So for us, some growth that way. There's some pain involved in that. We're also very conscious of continuing to measure the impact that we have. Now, that sounds really easy, but that's a very difficult thing to do, and you've got to stick with it. We're now going to attempt to do that with our counselling program too. Again, there's lots of hurdles involved with that, and it's not commonly done. So we're really breaking new ground with that because we want to be able to say in 2 or 3 years' time, and particularly when you're searching for funding sources, we can clearly identify the impact that we're having with this cohort of people that come to counselling. It takes a lot of resourcing. It takes a lot of change. And I acknowledge that, but we are going to push on and get that done. So we're excited by that. And we're coming up not too long before it's our 25th year.
25.
Yeah, it's sort of unbelievable.
It's when the male brain is fully developed, isn't it?
Yeah,
I'm 60, so I'm still working on it. Yeah, maybe I'm just a slow developer.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. But Katie Gallagher, Senator Gallagher, spoke at our business breakfast towards the back end of our business breakfast. And normally we don't have the political side of it. It's an apolitical type thing. But Katie asked, can she just say a few words of thanks to Menslink? And she got up and she actually spoke about her mum, who was the inaugural Southside Community Service CEO back in the 90s.
Of Menslink?
No, of Southside Community Services. Yep. And she recalled the story of our inaugural chair CEO, Richard Shanahan. And she remembers her mum, strategizing with Richard about how Menslink was going to break away from the community service and be its own entity. And Katie talked about, she knew the importance of that, 25 years ago as it was sort of gestation. And so for her to get up and speak about that I was just like, wow, that's pretty impressive. We started a long time ago for a community service and we're still kicking goals. We're still helping young guys and we still have a vision to continue to improve. That's a big thing. That's a really big thing. There's a lot of moving pieces that have to come together and there's lots of balls in the air that we continue to juggle. But there's lots of really good people that are willing to say, yeah, like what can we do?
What can we do?
Just like you fellas.
You haven't given us an answer yet.
And what
And-
can
but-
we in our community do?
But I do want to just bring you back to that point where we did meet right at the
Yep.
beginning of Running for Resilience, down at the pub, and we were trying to decide 2021 maybe. I don't know.
I
Thereabouts.
can't remember.
Yeah,
I only remember catching up last year at the
yeah, we
Urban.
caught up. Yeah, yep. So, I at least I know from myself personally and Menslink, we were sort of right at the beginning of your journey too. We're running for it. Might not have been right at the start, but it was at the beginning of the journey, and I'm very proud of that. Running for Resilience and the relationship that we're building is organic. I don't think it needs to be anything in flashing lights. There's lots of community
Or
organisations.
flashing screens.
Flashing screens. There's lots of community organisations that come along for Running for Resilience, and you guys speak about them very well. And I reckon that's fantastic, because it shouldn't just be one. It shouldn't just be two. It actually should be everybody
We're all in
has the
together.
opportunity. Yeah, has the opportunity, because that's the only way that you'll move towards the suicide free in 2033. It won't be just, well, we just support Menslink and that's how it's like, no, we need to do everybody. So I'm really proud that what you guys have done, and I reckon that's what can you do for us is continue that holistic standpoint
Can do.
and come along to our events.
Can do.
Yeah.
We will.
Apologies. Oh, sorry.
That's right.
I was out Monday night. last
Yeah,
night.
it was
Sorry,
fair,
BJ.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Very, very sorry.
But
Next
yeah, I see it as a really just healthy and beneficial relationship. You know, from Menslink side of the fence, just the awareness of what Menslink does has been increased by partnering with Running for Resilience. Hopefully, we just grow organically. Is there anything specifically? No.
It'll come. It'll
We're
present
just-
itself.
Won't
won't it?
force it, like you
Yeah,
said.
we're just in it together. Unless we want to organise a fun run, you know, community fun runs. You know, there's all sorts of stuff that can happen in the
Okay.
future. There's no hurry. You know, we've got enough on our plate. Let me tell you.
I mean, our role, we feel like we are apart from putting on a lot of events to bring people together, is to try and be the lighthouse that shines light on the support people need. And so that hopefully this pod's a part of that light, and hopefully we're shining on you today. And hopefully, yeah, when we
It's a good way
come
to put it.
across people, that need exactly what, now everyone knows exactly what Menslink does. And if they know a young fella in their neck of the woods, and they might chat to their parents and try and nudge them in your direction.
It's just about awareness, and as I spoke about earlier, it's creating champions, and whether a Running for Resilience champion or a Lifeline champion or Menslink champion, you know, they're still out helping, and you can be all of those. You can be a Lifeline and a Running for Resilience, because we know Carrie really well, and she's very much backing what we do, and we very much back what she does. So we're all in it together.
Absolutely. And this isn't a power play, but Ben, you're a champion. And mate, we meant it. The gold standard of the charity sector. We love being in a relationship, working towards the suicide-free Canberra, but differently, and all coming together. And yeah, we couldn't be prouder of the work you're doing, but also the partnership we have.
Yeah, thanks for that.
In
Kind of you
one,
to say that.
in one or two
I
words.
get a handshake,
Oh,
mate.
you
Come
get a
on.
handshake.
In one or two words before we wrap up, who would you like to see on this podcast?
Oh, who would like to see on this podcast?
Who would you like to see?
Wow. You didn't brief me on that
It's
question.
not meant to.
mate.
Yeah, it's got to be off the top of the dome.
After yesterday's breakfast, Barry Dubois was fantastic, but
Barry Javois,
Katie Gallagher.
Cam Sullings.
Cam
Oh.
Sullings.
Cam Sullings is very generous to us at Menslink. He's been part of our program. He is what a Menslink champion typifies.
Okay.
He's out in the community all the time, obviously with his job, but always has a kind heart for not only Menslink but other things.
I felt shocking when I saw that he emceed you guys, the breakfast,
I know.
because he emceed the hospital thing the night before, our hospital awards. So I told him, I can't make him, I'm going to be a bit tired. But then Cam hosted, did an amazing job at the hospital awards on Monday night, and then he backs up, and it sounds like he did a great job as well. So.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And he probably was out doing the Raiders on the weekend as well.
He was, and he went to country rugby league out in Leeton on Sunday. It was crazy. I'm like, Cam, seriously.
Slow down.
But I do need, Cam would be great because he is Canberra. He'll do it for anybody.
Well,
His level of preparation so Cam does our events now, so he's done Big Night Out, business breakfast. His level of preparation with Barry, from our background, preparation is key. If you're gonna have a good event, you want a good, it's preparation. Cam spent a lot of time, multiple hours, reading, researching. We had 2 long video conferences with Barry going through the questions, the run sheet. Barry said to me that was the most prepared that an organisation had come to him for the presentation, and it actually shows.
okay.
So I'm Cam Sullings.
Well, preparation is something.
Oh, Cam, if you're watching, mate, I'm
Yeah,
going to
Cam.
shoot you a text, Cam.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
Find a theme and we'll get him in. But
Yep.
Ben, thank you.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
It's been a joy. I'm loving what you do. Love the journey. Love seeing you guys mature and learn as you go along the journey too, because it'll be great for you. Canberra, suicide free, 2033.
Let's have a crack at it.
Yeah.
Hooray. Thank you.
Thanks.